It's 8:30. I'll call our meeting to order. Looking for an approval of the agenda.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Haney and a second by Commissioner Wayland. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. Citizens to be heard. Is there anyone wishing to speak on anything not on the agenda? Seeing none, we'll move into the approval of payment of bills and vouchers. We have a motion by Commissioner Wayland
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Campbell. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. The minutes from September 18th are presented.
Move approval with the addendum.
We have a motion to approve with the addendum by Commissioner Haney.
Second.
And a second by Commissioner Wayland. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. We have our employee recognition for longevity today. Miriam Danielson. Good morning, Miriam. Good morning. Where would you like this? Right here. Miriam, this plaque is given to you today in a grateful recognition for your 25 years of service to Clay County and its citizens. Thank you very much. And Holly is here.
It's been our great fortune to hire Miriam Danielson 25 years ago as a sales specialist, which was the Seniors Agenda for Independent Living program. 25 years ago, her job was to assist the state of Minnesota in gathering information about Clay County seniors and their needs, developing alternatives to nursing home placements, and educating the public about options to nursing homes. So over the past years, Miriam has also been a waiver case manager where she's worked with people under the age of 65 who've had various disability conditions, including chronic health conditions, serious mental health, hearing loss, progressive conditions like multiple sclerosis, Huntington's disease, Parkinson's, ALS, and more. As a case manager, it's her job to develop a plan with the client and to support their living in the community. She authorized services funded by Medicaid, such as home care, homemaking, Meals on Wheels, personal care, etc. She is currently our adult intake worker here at Social Services. Her years of experience, the knowledge is helpful for people calling in or walking into our agency. She problem solves with individuals. She takes MinChoices assessments, makes referrals to call other community agencies. She educates people about civil commitments, participates in our adult protection screenings, and works in partnership with all of our workers in the adult and disability units. So congratulations to Miriam. Thank you.
Bradley McDonald will be honoring him today, and he's not here yet. Eric, is he on his way? Do you know?
No, he's not.
But I can give this to you for him. And make sure and thank him for the recognition of 20 years of service to Clay County and its citizens. We really appreciate all the work that
I could say a few words
he's
more.
done. Absolutely.
Yeah. Definitely want to thank Brad. He's really a valued member of our department, and I guess he did start 20 years ago as a truck driver, and he quickly became the sign foreman. And I guess one thing I do want to thank him for is he was instrumental in our sign program, which is a federal requirement, and it's a pretty big undertaking. We actually have about 10,000 signs that we maintain. So yeah, just want to thank Brad, and I'll pass this along.
Thank you.
All right.
Next on our agenda, we'd like to recognize a donation from the Clay County Fair to the Law Enforcement Center, or Clay County Law Enforcement, for $400 as for their work detail at the fairgrounds. It looked great out there, so thank you very much for that. Item number 2 is a correctional facility update. Julie Savat, good morning.
Good morning. I just want to start by, let's give STS credit for the work detail on that project, because it was actually STS out there this year who did all that fine work because we were unable to provide them the work details. So thank you to STS. on
Yes,
that.
thank
So, I'm here to give an update on our jail transition plan. A lot has been going on the last couple of weeks. One of the big things is we received our certificate of occupancy. The Department of Corrections was here last Thursday. He went through the entire building. He's had our policies that Transitions has come up with for the last 2 months, so he was able to review them long before he ever got here. Solid policies, no issues there. The fire, that was all taken care of, all the testing and everything like that, that's all been taken care of. He only actually needs a couple things before we can move in there, and that would be a completed punch list, which we're expecting from construction engineers, I believe by the 12th of October. The second thing is we need our secure electronics testing finalized. That should happen by mid next week. The system is up and running, but we just have to do some fine tuning, and then they'll go through and actually test it all once it's all set up. And the last thing would be a final shakedown. And the final shakedown will happen after we do our public event on the 18th, so that'll be happening on the 19th. And what we have to do for that is literally go through every inch of that jail and check it for contraband, make sure there's nothing loose, that all the security screws are in place, that there is nothing in there that's not supposed to be in there. And you can't do that until you have all the contractors out of there. No public can be in there. At that point, it's strictly a correctional facility. Tours are done, everything's done, and it's locked down for the inmates at that point. So our game plan is to have that wrapped up Friday afternoon on the 19th. We'll contact the DOC with an email saying that's been complete, and at that time, he said he would check his emails that Friday and Saturday, and he could respond via email to give us permission to move in on October 22nd. So we are moving in October 22nd. So, a couple of things to update about training. Our first group started back on September 10th. We have 3 groups of training. Each one is a 2-week process with 120 hours. Our staff are putting in a lot of hours. They're working really hard. They're doing an amazing job over there. The first group, the first week of their training, it was a little more difficult for them because there was a lot of areas of the jail they could not get to. By the second week of their training, they were able to get in some of those areas. The second group here, they've had a much better opportunity because everything's up and running and working, and they're just working around the contractors, doing painting and minor things like that. And we're hoping for this third group, there will be almost no contractors in there for the second half of their training. And it's pretty impressive to watch them because they're doing a lot of scenario-based training where they are all at their posts and they'll run a scenario like an emergency of some type, medical, fight, and they are actually responding like they would. If you're in the old jail, you can actually hear the radio traffic to see what's going on. It's kind of fun to listen to, but it's really exciting to watch. Everybody's pretty positive over there. They're really happy. They like the environment they're working in, and it's been an overall a pretty amazing experience for everybody over there. So, as we've been training, there's been some minor changes to policy. Our staff have had some great suggestions, but we have decided that we are really not going to change anything until we move into the facility to see how it really works when you get the inmates in there, because everybody's got great ideas, but until we get the inmates in there, we need to see what the best option will be. And at that time, we're going to tweak our policies, and we knew that would happen all along with transition, that once we move in the jail, transition isn't really over. It goes on, for a couple months after that, and since it's a 2-phase project, we obviously have transition still has to work on the whole kitchen area, the laundry, and all those things. I mean, the policies are done, but still, there's still a lot of work that has to be done, and we realize that going into it. And let's see here, what else we got? That pretty much covers it. I think I covered everything that we have going on. We had to hire 16 new employees. We were able to hire 15 of them so far. Unfortunately, one of the 15 decided it wasn't for them, so we're down to 2, but I plan on hiring one of them yet today. And then we still have 1 vacancy, but I am backgrounding 5 employees right now, so I don't have a big concern about us not having the staff that we need.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Questions?
I have a question by Commissioner Campbell.
Good morning, Julie.
Good morning.
The transporting, are you, when is that going to end then? Is that going to end on the 22nd?
No. So the plan has never been to bring everybody back on the 23rd. Our plan has always been we'll bring them back as they are needed for court.
Okay.
So we figured by mid-November we'd have everybody back.
Okay.
And that was always the original plan all along. we really don't have the transports for that, and it's best if we could just bring what we have over there, acclimate a little bit, and then gradually, bring them all in.
And are all the pods going to be used right away?
They only if we have our staffing levels
Okay.
to where they need to be.
Okay, and then yesterday, afternoon, you mentioned to me about the overnight deal that you might want to change those.
Yeah.
Do you want to let the board know
Sure.
about that?
So when Medusa came in, we talked about things that need to be done yet. We talked about the sleepover. And upon his review, he didn't feel that we were going to have enough time to do everything we needed to get done if we wanted to move in on the 22nd. He actually felt that maybe construction was a little bit behind, even up to possibly 2 weeks. But construction engineers has assured us that they will get it done. But for us to get everything we need to do, we really would have a difficult time doing a sleepover, and because here's what happens. If we have 100 people come in and do a sleepover, that's 100 uniforms, 100 pieces of bedding that we have to switch over and have ready by Monday.
Yeah.
And with a shakedown on Friday, and on Saturday and Sunday, we're all planning to work already because we want to have everybody pre-classified and pre-housed before we move them over there. So we're not doing all that Monday, Tuesday. There just wouldn't be time to do the sleepover. So what we want to do is we're going to run a partial sleepover. So on that Thursday, we want to run it from 4 to 10 o'clock at night, have the public come in, and then we can run all the scenarios that we want to do. They get a feel for what the jail is like. They can help us out in so many ways. They can test out our systems, but we won't give them clothing and bedding, and we won't do that whole process that will take us so long to recoup from.
You'll
So,
go through one meal too then?
yes, and we'll also get and that was really important for us. We wanted to practice our meal delivery because it is different for this new facility, and we can still do that with this 4 to 10 time slot. So,
Well, I think it's, whatever you do, it's important that, one, it's a benefit of you, but it's not going to hinder the final end product as well.
I agree, and this is a good compromise because we really wanted to do it. I mean, we really did. It's just it's a time crunch, and unfortunately, we just couldn't
I got
fulfill
it.
it. So.
No.
Most people would find 6 hours is plenty over there anyway.
Well, I do feel bad because the Clay County Gym Ministries has put a lot of effort and a lot of work into this, and they're an amazing group. And I feel really bad because I know they'll be disappointed in it, and I hope they will still understand, and I know they will. I know they will because they're great people.
Yeah.
That they'll still get the support to come in and do that 4 to 10 slot because there's so many things that we can do and have them help us out with. So it's a
Okay.
great service for us.
And you're going to let Gene know about that? So
Yeah, actually, I did yesterday.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Any questions on that update? I do see that you, on the bottom of the first page, you have a motion, suggested motion to approve the hire of 2 upcoming vacancies.
Actually, it's 3. It was adjusted.
So 3 vacancies, and the next one would be the full-time corrections, correct?
Actually, what it is, it's 3 full-time vacancies total.
Okay.
Yeah, so I just I sent a new agenda item over. It actually includes the last one. So what I have is, I have a resignation. I have one that juvenile detention got from me for full-time, which was a surprise, but they're very lucky to get him over there. He's a great officer for us. And our other one is a full-time officer that's been with us for 20 years, who had planned on leaving this summer and moving. But she, since we had a delay, she agreed to stick around for us and help us out and stay in that old jail. So we're very thankful for her to stick around longer than she had planned. But she'll be done October 19th.
Okay.
What's your total number of staff once you're, have
51.
everybody hired? 51?
Yep.
And originally DOC was talking 54, weren't they? I
Yeah,
think?
55 was the first one,
Yeah.
and we got it down to
Okay.
51.
Yeah. I would move approval of the request.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the request by Commissioner Campbell, a second by Commissioner Wayland. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank
you,
you.
Julie.
Thank you for that report.
Yep.
Item number 4 is a request to fill a vacancy for the paralegal in the attorney's office. Our acting county attorney, Pam Foss. Good morning.
All right, we have a paralegal that she went on maternity leave and then decided she wanted to stay home with her kids.
Okay.
So we have an opening immediately for a paralegal position that I'm asking to be filled at this time.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to
Second.
approve by Commissioner Wayland, a second by Commissioner Haney. Just to talk about, it's budgeted at 2473, and then you're expecting to possibly hire around the 2032 range.
Yes, the new hire would start grade 14, step 1.
Okay.
And I think Miss Files was when she left. It's on your
I think on our sheet, it says 2473.
Yeah, she was 73, so.
So there's a little bit of a savings.
There
Okay.
would be, yeah, I think the step 1 is like a $20 or something now.
Okay, great. Further discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. Good luck. Item number 5 is Stephen Larson, a request for approval to be a voting member of the Minnesota Rural Broadband Coalition. Good morning.
That is a mouthful.
Thank you for doing the background research on this. I know it's taken some time, so we appreciate that.
You bet, Madam Chair. As you mentioned, recently at the AMC conference, many of you attended a breakout session with the Minnesota Rural Broadband Coalition. I was addressed there. This is currently a 3-year grant funded by the Blandin Foundation. What they're looking for from our counties, the member 87 counties and cities and private sectors to look at becoming a larger group that would be sustainable to establish lobbyists to make sure that we have somebody down in St. Paul that's looking out for the needs of Minnesota when it comes to the broadband funding dollars. And so the request to become a voting member from the coalition is a $500 investment. And so that is what I'm here for this morning.
Speak to that.
Commissioner Campbell.
Yes, you know, I sat in on that, and I was quite impressed with that discussion. And you know, and again, it's to get everybody to the 2026 goal that the state has. It would take $411 million, and you're not going to do that without having some form of lobbyist to help you get there. And I think the AMC counties that were present that day spoke very favorable of it, and I certainly would encourage us to take part in that to help finish off that goal for Clay County. So I would move approval of the.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Commissioner Campbell and a second by Commissioner Haney. I just think the benefits that are possible far outweigh a $500
Right.
investment.
Yes.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work on that, Steve.
Eric, are you doing number 6? Okay. Good morning. We have a request for a grid placement for our new maintenance foreman, Eric, our assistant county engineer. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you. So yeah, as we all know, winter's coming up, and it's pretty critical we get a new maintenance foreman on board before then. And luckily, we did get a very qualified applicant that we're excited about. He does have 22 years experience in the construction and maintenance industry. 18 years of that is supervising employees. He has a lot of MnDOT certifications, and he actually held this exact position back in 2008 to 2011. That was during the flooding events, pretty stressful time, and it's my understanding he did a great job, and we're excited that he's interested in coming back. So we are requesting a step 5 based on his qualifications, and it should have no impact to the budget. Actually, in 2019, we had a step 8 budgeted.
Okay.
So that is our request. I don't know if you have any questions or.
I'll move to approve.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Wayland to approve
A second.
and a second by Commissioner Gross. I think that the savings that you'll see in terms of trainings, because he does hold those certifications still, I think is definitely a good thing, but also because you do have a step 8 budgeted and he'll come in at a 5. Commissioner Gross.
He was an employee of ours before, he is not now, or?
Yeah, correct. Yep, back from 2008 to 2011, he was the county maintenance foreman.
Okay.
And then he quit to go back to the construction industry. and now he's kind of looking to come back to the county. I think he wants to spend the weekends with his family and a little less demanding schedule. So.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we have a motion and a second on the table. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, we're a little ahead of schedule. Commissioner Haney, can you do committee
Yes.
reports? Thank you.
Yes, I certainly can. On Wednesday, September 26th, Commissioner Gross and I met with some of the staff, and I don't remember what the actual name of that committee ad hoc group was, but we met about regarding the driver's license facility.
Oh.
And the discussion that we had with increasing a day or two for Moorhead to administer driver tests. And we had the regional supervisor, John McKagan from Detroit Lakes, came and met with us and cleared up some of the myths and ideas that, erroneous ideas that we had previous to this meeting. And that it was very difficult because this is a regionally assigned job and task, and they can't just add 2 more days in Moorhead and take it away from Fergus Falls and Detroit Lakes, because we had this idea that Detroit Lakes and Fergus each had 5 days a week and they don't. They have 2, and they're not about. He said, you guys can go to the Otter Tail County Commissioners and request them to give you an extra day, or the Becker County Commissioners. Ask them and see what they say about that.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, so exploring that, the one option that we did have is we could, he discussed the idea of adding an extra drive test examiner for the 3 days that we have. That way they can get through some more people. A lot of this is due to the increased workload that's drifting out from the outer suburbs all the way to St. Cloud and Alexandria, which are even bordering up into this area, because people here, if it's full up, they'll go to Detroit Lakes or Fergus Falls, and the same thing. So it's kind of they're at 7 examiners, isn't that right, total? Something like that, and they haven't increased them since, I don't know how long, 30 years, something like that. And so they recommended that we talk to representatives about adding an additional drive test examiner. We have the space currently to expand in our current facility, so that was all good news. That's the report.
Thank you. Commissioner, any more? Okay, thank you. Commissioner Gross.
Just to take off on what Commissioner Haney was talking about, their staff was 7 people 41 years ago, and it's now 9. So you can see how much more the growth in Clay County has been, and they've only increased it by 2 people. So they are getting busier. And I think you read the paper that starting Monday, starting yesterday, they started doing the new a new driver's license type thing which is going to make them busier, which that process is going to take a little bit longer, and so it's going to add to their duties out there. So we're really going to have to watch their staff, not their staff, I mean, they're going to probably get more people or something to help them out.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, the benefit of the new software program, though, is currently when our citizens come, there was only one kiosk that they could go to, and under this new software, they'll be able to go to all the windows, and so hopefully that will offset some of the extended periods of time that Commissioner Gross shared that they'll be facing, but hopefully that will make us more efficient.
Okay.
Now, Wednesday afternoon, I attended a meeting between the Linden DGF School District and the City of Linden. They're looking at putting in a new road or something. They'd like to put in a new road, and they want the county to be involved in, I think, paying for that. So, so far, we're not paying any extra money yet. So, but I think we'll discuss that at highway tracking this morning. We do have highway tracking yet, don't we, this morning? Okay. Thursday, we went to the Felton had a fire department open house. I went and attended that. Friday morning, the Buffalo Watershed Board, they had a meeting on one watershed, one plan. I think mostly what we discussed there, they formed their policy committee's been formed, their advisory committee, their planning team, and now Now I think it's time to have a whole bunch of meetings, the way it looks, to get everybody together, and it sounded to me like a whole lot of meetings coming up with that to get that plan going. Yesterday morning, we interviewed for the planning director, supervisor. I was involved in that. Hopefully we'll have a candidate, announcement pretty soon on that. And then last night I went to the small cities thing that we had in Linden. It's glad to see cities come there, but I would just like to see all of them there. But for the ones that came, I hope it was a good thing for them to do. That was my meetings.
Thank you. Commissioner Wayland?
Let's see, I had Prairie Lakes meeting last week, and that's all going pretty well. So we haven't had any real bad news there for quite a while, which is surprising considering the way it went for a number of years. And we had a solid waste meeting the following morning, advisory committee, and that everything's going well there. We're going to be doing some interviewing of companies on the landfill construction project here in about the middle of the month, so we'll have more information on that in the future. Had a diversion authority meeting, and that was a short meeting. Still in that waiting mode to get things approved from through Minnesota, but hopefully that'll be coming in the not too distant future. So I'm sure the meetings will become much longer once we get back on track. And yesterday we had detention center and jail and LEC construction meetings, and everything is going pretty well there. Working on the punch list. I think still a few things at the law enforcement center, but they're getting everything, the small things cleared up over there. And I think the good news about the detention project is they said they're out of the ground now, so should be putting up steel and things in the next couple weeks, and so hopefully we won't have as many surprises as we've had as you find underground. So. And let's see, attended the small cities meeting yesterday in Glendon, and I thought that went very well. I thought it was pretty well attended, and I do think the staff did a good job of giving updates, and I think the smaller communities do appreciate that time and the chance to hear what's going on in the county, and also, and I thought there was a lot of good news from a lot of these small towns about how things are progressing there. So a lot of home construction, a lot of positive things. So that was it for me.
Thank you. Last week I attended the audit exit meeting with Commissioner Campbell. Good news, I believe that final is, you sent out this morning, correct?
Correct, yes. Yep.
All right. And then I also had a meeting with our administrator in HR in regards to setting the planning and zoning director interview schedule. I attended the land management committee meeting of the diversion authority last week. We had a discussion regarding when they are possibly going to resume property acquisitions. I think it's kind of still that wait and see until we hear further from Minnesota, and they can go with that. And we had a discussion about submitting for appraisal services RFP, and we talked a little bit about the flow adjustment study update. I also attended the Lakes and Prairies board meeting at their Bellesley site. Quickly, we did have a spotlight on the workforce training that we had talked about with, I believe the United Way had come to this board and talked about the CNA trainings and the welding class that they're offering for workforce training, and great numbers, just to show the commitment of that director. She's currently transporting someone who took that class to their job because they don't have a vehicle. So, I mean, you can really tell that there's a lot of desire to help people. The number of clients that had started the CNA class was 17, and the welding class was 22, and the vast majority of them are now employed with that training. So that is a great program. We talked a little bit, there's currently some land that they're looking at for having building a facility there, an office space there with the potential of having a Head Start classroom, considerably less than purchasing a different property, and so the board did move to make an offer on that. It's right across from the courthouse, so it's a pretty good location for them. I attended the One Watershed, One Plan meeting with Commissioner Gross last Friday. A great discussion with a lot of representatives from different entities at the table. There is Houston Moore engineers are working on the proposal, and like Commissioner Gross said, now the meetings start to discuss what the final end product will look like. Yesterday we had interviews for the planning and zoning director, a good pool of candidates. I am excited about the possibility of extending a job offer to one of them. We'll know more later. And then I attended the small cities meeting last night. We did have 33 people there with 5 of our cities represented, continued discussion and dialogue between them. I think for us to be there as a resource for any questions that they've heard or have coming up, I think it's, even if it's just an hour and a half or 2 hours every 6 months, the discussion is quite valuable, so I appreciate that. Commissioner Campbell.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Last Tuesday, I also was in on the state audit exit interview. I think, as Commissioner Mojo said, that did go well. Like every year, there is some findings, and I did ask that Bob come to us and report to the full board those findings. So I'm assuming that's going to be scheduled soon to do that. Nothing serious whatsoever, but it's just important that we know those findings and how we can respond to them. So, and then on Wednesday, as Commissioner Whalen said, we had the Prairie Lakes meeting in Perham. That is going well, and one of the highlights there, one of the things that they talked about, I mentioned that we were going to be having a energy audit done in that facility, and that's been done right now. And one of the things they talked about was just how we're billed for our power in that facility, and you're billed based on your peaks, and so whatever your highest peak is, that's what you pay your rate on. And just the first simple thing they suggested is to change the way we run certain things in 15-minute intervals, so that they're not all going at the same time, and just doing that alone would save $1,500 a month. Just that one simple little thing in that facility will do that. So, and that's just the very beginning of this energy audit. So I think you're going to see significant savings come out of that process. So sometimes having those types of things done pays off. Mm-hmm. Then we had, as Commissioner Moser said, we had the land management meeting, and the one thing that, since the governor's task force was done and the focus now is on Plan B, obviously that brought some new people into this process impacted area. And one of the things that we're hearing is all these people want to know the process. And, and I've kind of encouraged them. I said, we know what the process is that we have to go through once it's determined. So, I encourage us to reach out to them and tell them what the process is. Now, whether or not they're ultimately going to be, in the impact area or whatever is yet to be seen. But right now they want to know what the process is, and I think we know what that is. So I think that's going to be a topic on our public outreach committee for next month to, we can't give them definite answers about buyouts or anything yet until we get final approval on a permit. But at least they're aware of what the process will be, and that's very important. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so then, and then the diversion authority meeting was on the 27th, and I think Commissioner Wayland reported on that. And again, we talked a little bit about. Now there was really really not a lot there. And we did have the solid waste meeting Thursday morning too, and I just want to comment on Larry Henry from the landfill and Shannon Thompson and Julie Kennedy all gave really good updates on their individual departments with recycling and household hazardous waste in the landfill itself. And then we had the jail and juvenile center construction meetings. Julie reported a lot on what I was going to talk about in regards to the correctional facility and the juvenile center. As Commissioner Whalen said, we're out of the ground now, so hopefully that is going to end. And then we had I also was at the community meeting last night in Glendon, and I want to emphasize too how we got a lot of really good news about how those communities are growing. They're growing with residential and they're growing commercially, and there's nothing better than having that combination. And I would like to note that they were very thankful for our work on the tax abatement for new construction that we have. That they said that's been a significant factor in their growth. So that concludes my report.
Madam Chair, I have one.
Yes, Commissioner Haney.
I also attended the small cities meeting in Glendon. I forgot to report that when I gave my report.
All right, thank you very much. We are now to item number 7, our closed session. The attorney-client privilege pursuant to Minnesota Statute 13D-05 in regards to a grievance of a former employee.
Move to close.
We have a motion by Commissioner Whalen to close and Commissioner Gross to second. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. We are now closed. All right, we're back open. We have all gone through our committee reports, but Commissioner Campbell does have an additional item.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention that October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. 1 in 8 women born in the United States will get breast cancer at some point. National Breast Cancer Awareness Month is a chance to raise awareness about the importance of detecting breast cancer early, make a difference, spread the word about mammograms, and encourage communities, organizations, families, and individuals to get involved. And I just thought that was an important message. We have people within our county that are going through that right now, and not only our county, but worldwide, and it's a good message to put forward. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Stephen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a busy week. I did meet with the state auditor at the exit interview, and I will get Mr. Johnson here for an upcoming board meeting. I also participated in the motor vehicle, the meeting. I think the interesting thing that Commissioner Haney talked about is our thought process was if we got more days for testing, it would ease the stress of the workload out there. And he actually shared with us the myth that it'll actually be enhanced. We'll have more people coming to town to do that. And so that was kind of an interesting finding in that discussion. On Wednesday, I also met with Rhonda Porter, Pat Boyer, Troy Amundson, and DHS in discussion of a potential grant opportunity. Thursday, I participated in the Solid Waste Advisory Board. After that meeting, Commissioner Whalen and Campbell and I went over during the Minnesota Department of Corrections jail inspection. I think one of the things that was very clear that I think is important to talk about is this board's foresight to add that transition team. One of the things that was very clear as part of in talking with Tim Thompson from the Department of Corrections is their preparation and readiness for that, and that would have been a very big challenge for Julie and Justin to manage in addition to the other things. And so I think the board deserves a great deal of credit for adding those positions to make that transition smooth. Thursday afternoon, I participated in a bargaining unit meeting with Darren. Friday, we met with Carrie Puser from Michael J. Burns, Tom Fuchs from Construction Engineers, and James O'Donnell in regards to some things happening at the Juvenile Center. On Monday morning, I participated in the planning and zoning interviews. We had a very talented group of interviewees. We did have one person who really clearly stood out in that interview process. And my hope in talking with you this morning in regards to that would be, is based on their years of experience, I'm looking for permission to go up to step 5 in the negotiation piece, if that would be all right with the board.
And I think too, Darren, correct me if I'm wrong, the budgeted, where were we budgeted at for?
We budgeted next year at grade 25, step 12, I believe.
Okay.
And this will be grade 23.
Yep, so considerably under what was
Yes.
budgeted, and I think the talent based on that candidate definitely warrants it.
Do we need a motion for that? So moved if we do.
We have a motion by Commissioner Wayland, a second by Commissioner Campbell to allow the flexibility in negotiation up to step 5.
Okay.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Carried. Thank you.
Thank you. Also on Monday, I participated in the jail, law enforcement, and juvenile center owners meeting. That's been well covered. Last night, I participated in the rural city and county meeting. Again, I just kind of echo the positive comments that the commissioners have shared. I stayed after the meeting yesterday and talked with a number of the small cities representatives, and they shared how important they thought that meeting is to get together to hear what are happening on the county level, but also what are happening in their communities. And so that was certainly positive. And then thanks for the department heads who were able to participate. I do think they bring value to that meeting. And lastly, I just was going to share that I'll be attending the county administrators conference the second half of this week. So that concludes my report.
All right, thank you. Is there anything further, Steve?
No.
Okay. All right, if not, we are adjourned.